As days turned into weeks and weeks into months, Ekene found himself shouldering all the responsibilities at home, while Natasha remained fixated on her TikTok live streams. Despite his efforts to encourage Natasha to take on her wifely duties, she showed no interest and often picked fights with Ekene, blaming him for knowing about her habits before they got married. Every day, when Ekene returned home from work, he would find Natasha engrossed in her phone, live streaming to her followers while neglecting her responsibilities. He would then take on the task of cooking, cleaning, and looking after their home, feeling the weight of the burden on his shoulders. Months passed, and to Ekene's surprise and sadness, Natasha became pregnant. He worried about her ability to handle motherhood, knowing she wasn't ready to change her habits. Even during her prenatal appointments, Natasha would miss them if Ekene didn't insist on taking her. When their daughter Maya was born, Ekene was overjoyed, but his happiness was tinged with concern for Maya's well-being. Natasha showed little interest in caring for their daughter, leaving Ekene's mother, Ngozi, to take on the role of primary caregiver during her visit for Omugwo. Ngozi often complained about Natasha's neglect of Maya, but Natasha remained indifferent, more focused on her social media presence than on her own child. Ekene tried to encourage Natasha to take on her responsibilities as a mother, but his pleas fell on deaf ears. Despite his frustration, Ekene refused to hire a nanny or seek outside help, believing that Natasha needed to step up and take care of her daughter. However, Natasha's behavior remained unchanged, leaving Ekene to juggle the responsibilities of work and childcare on his own. Sometimes Ekene would come home from work to find baby Maya crying and hungry, neglected by her own mother. He would quickly attend to her needs, feeding her, bathing her, and putting her to sleep, all while Natasha remained oblivious to her daughter's distress. Ekene even resorted to taking baby Maya to work with him at times, unwilling to leave her alone with Natasha's neglect. Despite his efforts to balance work and childcare, Ekene couldn't shake off the feeling of disappointment and sadness at Natasha's inability to prioritize their daughter's well-being. As the days passed, Ekene wondered how long he could continue to bear the burden of their dysfunctional marriage on his own. He hoped that someday Natasha would realize the importance of being a responsible wife and mother. But for now, he could only focus on providing the love and care that baby Maya deserved. As months went by, Natasha's careless lifestyle only worsened. She continued to neglect her responsibilities as a wife and mother, spending Ekene's hard-earned money frivolously and constantly indulging in her social media addiction. Meanwhile, baby Maya was growing, but her needs were often overlooked by her mother. One fateful day, when Maya was around 8 months old, she became very hungry and started crying uncontrollably. Natasha, oblivious to her daughter's cries, was too absorbed in her phone to notice the distress. Desperate for relief, baby Maya crawled to the kitchen, unaware of the danger lurking in the form of a bucket of hot water that Natasha had carelessly left on the floor. In her attempt to stand, Maya accidentally knocked over the bucket, causing scalding hot water to spill onto her tiny body. Maya's cries of pain filled the air, but Natasha remained oblivious, still engrossed in her phone. It was only when Ekene returned home from work and heard Maya's cries that he rushed to her side, horrified to see his daughter in such agony. Without hesitation, Ekene scooped up Maya and rushed her to the hospital, his heart pounding with fear and worry. Natasha, still unaware of the situation, continued her online activities, oblivious to the tragedy unfolding in her own home. At the hospital, Maya was admitted for treatment, but despite the doctor's best efforts, she succumbed to her injuries and passed away. The news shattered Ekene's world, leaving him consumed with grief and anger. Filled with a sense of profound loss and betrayal, Ekene returned home that day with a heavy heart, his mind reeling with pain and anguish. As he entered the house, he was met with the sight of Natasha, still glued to her phone, unaware of the devastation she had caused. Unable to contain his rage any longer, Ekeni seized Natasha's phone and hurled it to the ground, shattering it into pieces. Natasha, startled by Ekeni's actions, demanded to know why he had destroyed her phone. With tears streaming down his face, Ekeni unleashed his pent-up emotions, calling Natasha names and accusing her of being responsible for their daughter's death. Natasha's eyes widened in shock as she struggled to comprehend the magnitude of Ekeni's words. Frantic with grief and guilt, Natasha began searching for baby Maya, calling out her name in desperation. But Ekeni, his heart heavy with sorrow, looked at Natasha with a mixture of sadness and resignation, realizing that their marriage was irreparably broken. In a voice choked with emotion, Ekeni handed Natasha a letter of divorce, his decision to end their marriage final and irreversible. Despite Natasha's tearful pleas and apologies, Ekeni remained resolute, his trust and love shattered by the events that had unfolded. As Natasha fell to her knees, overcome with grief and remorse, Ekeni's heart ached with pain for the loss of their daughter and the shattered dreams of their family. With a heavy heart, he walked away, leaving behind the ruins of a marriage that had once held so much promise. Filled with regret and sorrow, Natasha watched as her marriage crumbled before her eyes. Both her mother and Ekeni's mother arrived at the house, their faces etched with disappointment and anger at Natasha's neglect of her daughter. They couldn't hide their disdain for Natasha, expressing their sympathy for Ekeni and thanking Natasha for finally revealing her true colors. Despite Natasha's tearful pleas for forgiveness, both mothers stood firm in their support of Ekeni's decision to end the marriage. Days passed, and Natasha found herself unable to change Ekeni's mind. She realized that she had lost the love and trust of the man she had once vowed to spend her life with. With a heavy heart, Natasha finally relented and signed the divorce papers, accepting that her marriage was over. As Natasha packed her belongings and prepared to leave Ekeni's house for good, she couldn't shake off the feeling of sadness and regret that filled her heart. She knew that she had made a grave mistake, one that had cost her the love of her husband and the life of her daughter. Ekeni, on the other hand, felt a sense of relief as Natasha left his life. Though he mourned the loss of baby Maya, he knew that staying with Natasha would only bring more pain and heartache. He resolved to focus on rebuilding his life and finding happiness once again. Weeks passed, and Natasha found herself lost and alone, filled with remorse for her actions. She couldn't bear the thought of never seeing Ekeni again, of never being able to make amends for her mistakes. Driven by desperation, Natasha returned to Ekeni's house, her heart heavy with regret. She fell to her knees before him, begging for another chance, but Ekeni remained unmoved by her pleas. With a mixture of anger and sadness, Ekeni rejected Natasha's pleas, reminding her of all the ways she had failed as a wife and mother. He accused her of being worthless, of bringing nothing but pain and suffering into their lives. In tears, Natasha realized the extent of her mistakes and the damage she had caused. With a heavy heart, she stood up and left Ekeni's house, her hopes of reconciliation shattered. Returning to her mother's house, Natasha found solace in her mother's arms, seeking forgiveness and redemption. Mrs. Kayode, though disappointed in her daughter's actions, welcomed her back with open arms, determined to help her change for the better. With her mother's support, Natasha embarked on a journey of self-improvement. She humbled herself and asked her mother to teach her how to cook and perform household chores, determined to become a better person. As she learned, Natasha discovered a newfound sense of purpose and ambition. She decided to pursue her dreams of becoming a medical doctor, enrolling in a certification program, and dedicating herself to her studies. With hard work and determination, Natasha finally achieved her goal, becoming a certified medical doctor. She had transformed herself from a careless and neglectful wife into a capable and successful woman, ready to make amends for her past mistakes and embrace a brighter future. As Natasha looked back on her journey, she realized that sometimes it takes loss and hardship to truly appreciate the value of love and family. And though she could never undo the pain she had caused, she vowed to live her life with purpose and integrity, striving to make amends for the mistakes of her past. Time continued to pass, and Natasha remained determined to make amends for her past mistakes. With the support of her mother, Mrs. Kayode, she decided to seek forgiveness from Ekene and rebuild their relationship. Accompanied by her mother, Natasha went to Ekene's house, her heart heavy with remorse. When Ekene welcomed them with a smile, Natasha felt a glimmer of hope that maybe, just maybe, she could make things right. After exchanging pleasantries, Natasha humbled herself before Ekene once again, apologizing for the pain she had caused him in the past. She assured him that she was a changed person, ready to make amends and earn his forgiveness, even if he chose not to take her back. Moved by Natasha's sincerity and remorse, Ekene's eyes filled with tears. He stood up and helped Natasha to her feet, expressing his pride in the woman she had become. He told her that he had forgiven her long ago, and his heart was open to giving their love another chance. Natasha smiled through her tears, grateful for Ekene's forgiveness. After a heartfelt conversation, Natasha and her mother left Ekene's house, their hearts lighter with the hope of a brighter future. As days turned into weeks, Ekene couldn't shake off the lingering feelings of love he still harbored for Natasha. One night, unable to resist the longing in his heart, he picked up his phone and dialed Natasha's number. They spoke for hours, pouring out their hearts and laying bare their deepest emotions. In their conversation, they both realized that despite the pain of their past, their love for each other had never truly faded. Determined to give their love a second chance, Natasha arrived at Ekene's house one day. To Ekene's surprise and delight, she entered the kitchen and cooked a delicious meal, a gesture of love and reconciliation that touched his heart deeply. As they sat down to eat together, Ekene and Natasha talked, sharing their hopes and dreams for the future. They both knew that this time, their love would be different, stronger and more resilient than ever before. Months passed, and Ekene and Natasha renewed their vows, pledging to love and cherish each other for the rest of their lives. Soon after, they were blessed with a set of twins, two beautiful girls who brought joy and laughter into their home. They named the twins Mira and Maya, in honor of the daughter they had lost and the love that had brought them back together. With Ekene by her side, Natasha embraced motherhood with joy and determination, showering her daughters with love and affection. As they watched their daughters grow, Ekene and Natasha's love only deepened, strengthened by the trials they had overcome and the bond they shared. Natasha excelled in her career, supported by Ekene's unwavering love and encouragement. Together, they created a happy and loving family, filled with laughter and joy. Despite the challenges they faced, Ekene and Natasha knew that as long as they had each other, they could overcome anything. And so, with their hearts full of love and gratitude, Ekene, Natasha, and their daughters lived happily ever after, cherishing each moment together and embracing the beautiful journey of life that lay ahead. Moral lesson. This story teaches us the importance of forgiveness, second chances, and the power of change. It shows that people can make mistakes, but with sincerity and effort, they can learn from them and become better. Natasha's journey from neglectful wife and mother to a loving and responsible partner illustrates how positive change is possible when we acknowledge our faults and strive to do better. Similarly, Ekene's willingness to forgive and give Natasha another chance demonstrates the power of love and compassion. In the end, the story reminds us that no matter how difficult the journey may be, redemption and happiness are attainable through humility, forgiveness, and genuine efforts to make amends. Thank you for watching this story on Afro Tales TV. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, leave us a comment, and share with friends and family. We have more beautiful stories coming your way, so subscribe and stay tuned. See you in the next one.